Hey everyone, today my guest is the CEO, CTO, and the co-founder of Ozlo Sleep. It's a company on a mission to solve one of the biggest mental health crises we face. And it's something we talk about all the time here at Calm. We just don't get enough quality sleep. But this isn't about building a better earbud. It's about using technology to revolutionize rest and build a better world. So let's recharge with NB Patel. Welcome, MB, to Recharge. How are you today?
I'm doing great, David. Thanks for hosting me.
Thank you so much for being here. I know you're deep into building the future of sleep technology at Ozlo, so I really appreciate you taking the time today. And there's a question I start all my podcasts off with, and it's the premise of this podcast and my book, Recharge. And I start by asking, how's your battery today and why?
I would say it's very high. It's a great question to start the conversation, by the way. The reason I say it's high is for the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years, especially after COVID, I've been paying more attention to my overall health. I've been watching what I'm eating, watching my exercise, and especially paying more attention to sleep. And I make sure not to compromise on any of these things, despite the work and anything that's going on in my life. So I would say I'm always excited.
That's good. And we're going to get into all of those topics because you're really talking about a lot of whole health and a lot of what we're about to get into. So listen, if we just take a step back, okay, and we talk about you a little bit and the mission around Ozlo, you spent over 22 years at Bose, rising to the head of corporate concepts. And when Bose was working on some project and they discontinued the Sleepbud, you kind of made this kind of unprecedented decision that I've seen to acquire the IP and then to leave a job after you'd been there for 22 years. And you said that was life-changing. And so my question to you is, why was this mission around sleep so personal to you? And what made it worth the risk of leaving a job after more than 2 decades?
David, you just said it. It's a life-changing product. That's one of the main reasons. And also, I thought actually Bose actually created its own category, a product that did not exist before. Basically shedding the light on sleep, which many companies were ignoring it. And we at the time actually had the technology that we could solve using the headphone technology for sleep. And I agree with you. It's probably one of the hardest decisions I've made in the last 10, 15 years in my career, leaving a comfortable job and going into a startup. But I personally, I'm always excited about opportunities to work on a product that actually impacts people's lives. And very rarely you come across these products in your lifetime. And when the Sleepbuds came to me and as an opportunity, I didn't think back. Literally, I didn't have to go back and say, okay, I'm doing it. And you could actually sense, right? My friends and family, are you sure you want to do this? And I was very clear that I'm going to make it happen. And when I was studying the Sleepbuds at Bose, and I was a user of that, of course, and I definitely start seeing, okay, there are a couple gaps here. If we can fill those gaps, this could be the great product for sleep. And when Bose discontinued, and we decided to start a company and made an offer to buy the IP, and we knew what needed to be done to get this product market fit out of the gate. And that's what we did.
You know, there's over 70 million Americans, and that number is probably understated, that suffer from some type of chronic sleep issue. What have you learned being in this industry now about the relationship between poor sleep and mental health?
I can see that actually the impact of poor sleep has both short-term and long-term. And I can tell you personally myself, actually, how I became interested in actually paying attention to sleep. The days when I don't sleep well, I could feel the next day. I'm not at my best. I don't have the same energy. I don't have the same attention span that I would have. And then the days when I sleep well, 7 to 8 hours, and I'm a little bit 5, 10 years younger, I remember everything, right? So many times, I think you can be your own judge. That's what I tell people, actually. Many times, don't listen to what people are saying. Do it. Actually, you will understand the benefits of doing it versus not doing it. And to me, it's very obvious. And when I realized that, I couldn't convince myself to keep repeating that mistake over and over again. Imagine the impact is so huge for one night. Imagine if you keep ignoring that for a long time, what will be the impact for a long time, right? So one of the things that I can tell people is please don't ignore sleep. That's one of the very important pillars of health.
Sure. Great advice. And so now, because you're in this position, on a side note, do your friends, family, others, do they all come to you for sleep advice? Do they look at you as the sleep expert?
I always claim that I'm not a sleep expert, but they get always curious about why did you leave and doing this, and then the story behind it. And then I said, actually, the goal is to help millions of people sleep better, and here is why. And they naturally lean towards it. And many of my friends and family actually invested in the company and users of the product, and they're super excited about what we're doing and where we're heading.
Oh, that's great. So let's talk about some of the secret sauce, some of that technology behind what you do today, because you said something that people care about blocking the noise in their heads. And before we go into basically some of the technology pieces, actually, let's take a step back and talk about this concept of blocking the noise, okay? And I thought that was really interesting because it's not just the external sounds. So how do you address some of this internal noise that we have, all these things that we're kind of racing through, right? How do you think about that from your perspective?
The major reason why people don't go to sleep or they cannot go to sleep quickly, sometimes we call it racing thoughts, sometimes we call it racing mind. I think we all been there before. Sometimes we think about finances, kids' education, assignment, the podcast next day, what I'm going to do, and all that. That usually keeps you awake when you're trying to go to sleep. The closer you think about those things before you go to bed, it gets worse. And we have been already tried and tested when you're little, like especially when you're young, the toddler or a early age. Your brain is actually racing. Like you're processing the day, how the day went, and you're learning new languages, getting exposed to new objects and all that. And the only way to bring that racing mind to focus on sleep is listen to stories. That's why we read books to the kids, because the goal is to make them focus on one topic so that it's easy to shut off. The same technique works for adults also, believe it or not. So that's what we actually try to do. Basically, the one way to get out of this racing mind is have people focus on a single stream of audio so that brain concentrate on that particular topic, and it slowly starts ignoring the background noise, and basically what's like a shut off the rest of it. And then once you do that, because you're already tired, you're already in the bed, it actually makes it easy to put you to sleep. That's basically the same. We are not reinventing new technique that's been proven for many, many centuries, and we're just applying it using technology because we cannot have adults reading books when we are sleeping. So we need a technology to deliver that type of
That could be another company. Have someone sitting there just reading you books, you know?
Maybe we could do that. Yes.
So we all have friends out there that are like, as soon as I put my head on the pillow, I can fall asleep. And then you have people out there that say, you know, I put my head on the pillow and I have to listen to things. I have to read a book. It takes me a couple of hours. Based on your research that you have today, is there like an optimal amount of time that when you kind of like sit in your bed and you're getting ready for bed then before you go to sleep?
I think the research that what we got from the advisors is actually 10 to 15 minutes. 15 minutes is ideal actually to go to sleep. Yes. I have a lot of people, including myself. Like if I go back 20 years or 15 years, the minute I hit the bed, I would sleep. The reason I would do that because I was sleep deprived. I was not getting enough sleep in the first place. And when you do that, the minute you hit the bed, you'll sleep because you're sleeping 5 to 6 hours. Your body is looking for you to to rest, and then happens. But ideal time is 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Yes. If you do that, and then also 78 hours. 15 minutes to go to sleep, 78 hours total is ideal.
Is that something that you find for yourself? Because I often find it interesting. Now you're CEO of this company, you're running this company, it's known for sleep, right? And it's just like when I was here at Com, people are like, do you meditate all day, right? Because they just think you're in that job, right? So for you, right, do you get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night? Does it take you 10 to 15 minutes? Talk to us a little about your routine there.
It does take 10 to 12 minutes-ish for me when I put the headphones on. And thank you. And my routine is basically it's not the same because I was talking about earlier the racing thoughts, right? Racing mind. It's not the same solution works every day, believe it or
Mm,
not. That's one of the reasons why in Oslo we did not want to restrict people to listen to a specific content.
mm.
Sometimes I listen to books, sometimes the podcast, sometimes music, sometimes meditation. You probably know the yoga nidra. I do yoga nidra before going to sleep sometimes, depending on how exhausted I'm throughout the whole day. But it's not the same thing for every day. So I do spend 10 to 15 minutes listening to that content and fall off sleep. And then I make every attempt to sleep 7 hours plus. And the days when I cannot, I actually make an attempt to take a nap during the afternoon or
Wow.
whenever I get some time. Basically, the goal is to get to 7 to 8 for that whole 24-hour cycle.
And then do you find yourself having consistency at what time you go to sleep for that 7, 8 hours? Like some people will say, I go to sleep at this time, but I always wake up at the same time. Or some people, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? And some people will say, well, my hours may vary just because of your life schedule, right? Family, kids, other things, travel. Do you find yourself thinking, okay, consistency is one of the keys as well? How does that play in?
I try to be consistent. Like I try to go to bed at 10:30 to 11 during that window, and then wake
Mhm.
up between 6:30 to 7. It's very easy to follow, especially when I'm at home, because you have kids. They have their own routine. They go to bed around 10, and then you wrap up the rest of the stuff, and then you're ready to go to bed. It's difficult when you're traveling, especially because you have parties, you have meetings, and all that. But whenever I'm at home, I actually try to be consistent between those windows.
Great advice there. Really good advice. So, I actually now want to talk about some of the technology that I just referred to because when I looked at your technology and the conversations we've had, you use sound masking and you've done that over active noise cancellation. And so we hear a lot in the industry around active noise cancellation. What is the difference between the two? And why is one better for sleeping and calming the mind potentially over the other? Can you just kind of walk us through that and the decision that was made for the technology that makes you different from other companies out there today?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. The best way to fall and stay asleep is not um, controlling what's entering your ear, but quieting the mind,
Mm.
actually. So that's the important part. And we call this actually creating a cognitive silence so that the brain actually shuts off. Uh, Usually the ANC gets in the way. What ANC does very well is cancels the noises, especially the low frequencies, like repeated noises like air conditioning or the airplane noises.
Mm.
But when it comes to the sounds that actually we are susceptible to, our brain always looking for is dog barking and door slams. ANC doesn't do a good job. In fact, it actually does the opposite, not quite opposite, but amplifies it in some extent because it's actually canceling the low frequency noises. But in the process, it's amplifying the noises that could wake you up. But because of that, the best way to sleep is the solution. The best technology or a solution for sleep is masking,
Mm.
where you are passively blocking those high frequency sounds, and then you are playing some consistent noise or a sleep sound on top of that, effectively telling the brain actually don't pay attention to the disturbances and go to sleep.
Yeah,
It's basically, think about it like you're putting a blanket. You think about this as like there are a lot of little noises that are happening around you. You put a blanket around it. Your brain thinks that, okay, everything is normal. No need to be panicking. Just go to sleep.
mm.
Um,
Makes sense to me. So why aren't more companies out or are there more companies and be out there using this than we know about? Or is this something that's going to you feel that everyone will move this way or kind of where's
if
the puck kind of going here?
I think the reason why people compare our product sleep masking to AMC is because they're comparing against AirPods and other
Yeah.
active noise canceling products. They are designed for a specific purpose. They're designed to be used in airplanes where you drown out the background noise in a consistent, like a repeated low frequency sounds, but they are not designed for sleep.
Hmm.
And I expect that the sleep focused headphones, any headphones that targeting sleep, will move away from ANC to focus on masking because that is more effective than active noise cancellation. On top of that, having an active noise cancellation requires additional capabilities, technologies, multiple microphones. And if you have microphones, you'll be rubbing against the pillow that kind of leaks in. So there are a lot of technology gets in the way of delivering the best experience when you're sleeping. And I we'll see more and more companies adapting masking. We already see outside of Oslo, of course, the people actually using masking technique because they definitely know that it's more effective than the ANC alone.
Got it. Maybe the next step around this is I want to talk about a little bit of our partnership together with
Yep.
With Ozlo and Com here, because we've recently partnered together, and thank you for that.
No, thank you.
And it really brought together our kind of co-branded Sleepbuds that integrate over 300 plus hours of meditation together. It was sleep stories and other mindfulness content with your technology around sound masking. You could have chosen to have partnered with many companies that are out there today. Why did you choose to partner with us?
So at Oslo, actually, David, we actually built an amazing delivery platform, content delivery platform with biometric feedback. That's our strength. And we always wanted to partner with a great content producer out there on the market. And when we started looking at it, it was very clear for us, actually, let's start with Calm because Calm was the clearly number one leader in sleep and meditation content. And when we started engaging with your team, we got even more energized and excited about the energy they were bringing to the table to actually bring the great content and the great platform, hardware platform, and deliver the best to the common customer to help them achieve better sleep and better wellness in general. And that's the reason. So there was no doubt in our mind why we were doing this.
Well, MB, I got to tell you, for those of you who haven't had a chance to try out the product or have used it in the past, when I had my wife come and use the product, I could tell you there was points where there were two things. One, obviously around the technology itself that you highlighted, but two, the fact that a lot of times, the buds that are out there today, whether it's Apple or others, it's not really meant for sleeping. You roll around, they pop out. You're always kind of looking for them. Whereas yours have, they just kind of stay fit. And it's very comfortable. And I think most people that we've talked to are very surprised about how comfortable it is to keep it in there for such a prolonged period of time. Was that something that you, again, when we go back, not just to the technology, but to the comfort around the product, do you find that kind of user feedback that you've received, that people have said, I can keep these in for a long period of time and there's no real like abrasiveness against the ear or discomfort?
We hear that loud and clear from all our customers, actually, because when it comes to sleep, that's the most important thing that you need to nail. We are very thankful to Bose that they spent a lot of time to perfecting that part where you can wear it all night long. It doesn't come off, actually, when you turn and toss in the middle of the night, and it stay put. And where we added additional capability on top of that, is in addition to being comfortable, can be all night, it needs to last all night.
That's right.
You don't want to wake up in the middle of the night. You cannot say, I'm a sleep product, but I only work for 5 hours. Then you'll wake up in the middle of the night because there's nothing playing in your hair, right? So that is the thing, actually. Ozlo did a very good job, actually. Take the good thing that was built by Bose, like in terms of comfort and stability and all that, and then added some capabilities where you can listen to your own content to go to sleep. Sometimes it could be music and movies, whatever that puts you to sleep that night. And then also switch to the sounds automatically using sensors and then wake up to your alarm.
That's right. That's right. Speaking of like sensors, and because it does have these sensors, provides a lot of sleep data, right? That's and you have data, whether it's tracking your respiratory rates, whether it's looking at your body movements, and sleep states. And we know this. I mean, there's a lot of other products out there today that have some of the same, but other types of data as well. We've heard sometimes from our users that too much data sometimes can cause stress as well. How do you kind of balance that, right? How do you balance all the different types of data that's out there today? And that may tell you, hey, you haven't slept well, that may add to stress. And so do you get any of that feedback as well?
That is a real issue in the field right now. Majority of the trackers that are only, they keep telling you as a good friend, as a bad friend, actually, oh, you didn't sleep well last night. And they don't do anything actively to help you to sleep or better, right? So, and it actually causes a lot of anxiety over time for people. In fact, people start ignoring it. But in Oslo, you are correct. We do have sensors to track how you're sleeping. We do have the hypnogram in terms of the sleep staging. We also track the environment information. Is your room is cold, dark, and quiet? Because that also impacts your sleep. But we don't use that data to kind of give you the just for the data sharing. We use the data real time. I was giving you an example earlier where many of our users use this feature called When I Fall Asleep, where they start listening to their content. When they fall asleep, we actually automatically switch to sleep sounds that are stored in the buds and then pause the content for them, right? So these sensors are not just to give you the data next day, it's also used real time to take action. And if you look at our sleep patterns that we launched last October, we only focus on things that the user can control. Like, for example, you started earlier in the question, like consistency. What time you go to bed every day? What time you wake up, right? We keep track of those and how long it took for you to go to sleep. These are things that users can control. And then we also keep track of the environment, actually. We noticed that actually at 2 o'clock, there is a garbage truck who went in front of your house. That's why you woke up. That is controllable thing. Whether you can increase the volume a little bit on the earbuds, or you can sleep inside the room instead of the window that's close to the roads. Everything that we show to the customers is actionable or controllable. We don't just share the data just for the sake of sharing it. So because of that, we don't hear that kind of a feedback that typically people have for other sleep trackers on the market.
Yeah, that's great. You've got this incredible company. You're experiencing a lot of growth. You've got, and now you're up to 60 plus people and growing. How do you, as a CEO, manage your own stress?
If I say that I have no stress, then I'll be lying to you, by the way. Startups are very stressful, but there are two parts of stress, actually, right? What I categorize the stress that we can control, meaning the day-to-day in and out of actually delivering the right product that does this and this and that. For that, I'm really, really lucky because we have an amazing team at Ozlo. They are really, really, really good at what they do, and they're always on top of their game. And that actually helps me where I am not to get stressed out about the little things that actually gets in the way. But there are some stressful events, like I think many startups faced SVB fallout, the tariffs imposed last year, and all that.
Sure.
Those are the things that actually do take some stress moments. But I'm also lucky in that fashion. Our investors and advisors we have in Oslo, they believe in what we're doing. They're always support whenever we need it. So it's good. But the main thing actually that gets me out of the stress and it gets back into the game is every time I hear some testimonials and say, thank you, because of your product, I'm able to sleep next to my partner after 20 years of marriage. Or I'm a single mom and I sleep only 4 hours and I want to block out that 4 hours when my baby is sleeping. Thank you, right? And then many times, I think, David, you must have had this experience yourself many times. Like you go to these conferences, people see Oslo logo or Oslo cap or Oslo, they stop you at the elevator and say, thank you, because of you, we're sleeping well. It's like, good. So that keeps you going. It's one of those things where like gives the energy boost to keep you going, and you're onto something that motivates to keep doing what you're doing even better.
So, a couple last things here, and I'm just kind of curious on a personal front. So, as you think about this startup, how many years has Oslo been around for now?
It's a little over 4 years now. We started in 22.
And as you think about, kind of your roadmap ahead in a short amount of time, you've done all these things in 4 years. What are some of the things that you're getting feedback from the community saying that they want from you going forward and the product?
I think that people want always more, you can see. Even though I think we built a product which is 1/4 of the size of the AirPods, but lasts for 10 hours and does the biometrics. People are like, oh, I want more. And then we keep asking, like, do you really sleep more than 8 hours? No. We want more. I think that's something that actually we always, I think there was one thing that I wanted to say, that we're always pushing the boundaries in technology. And every product that we're going to launch, it's going to do better than where we are, significantly better than where we are today. And that's the ask that actually even customers are asking us. Okay, I want more battery life, I want more comfort, and I want more environmental sensing. And we're always looking for best way to do that in the coming years.
That's great. As we move on here, if someone is listening and just getting your personal advice, and whether their mental health is suffering because they're not sleeping well, or they're tired and anxious and they can't function, what would you, NB, say to them, and what would you like for them to know?
My advice is actually, I work in sleep company, and I would say, please prioritize sleep,
Hmm.
because the impact of lack of sleep is very enormous. And I can personally say myself, like I feel immediately if I don't sleep well, and I cannot imagine what will happen if you ignore it for a long time. And I always tell people, actually, don't listen to me or anybody. Try it yourself. Like I'll give you my example. I found out I'm lactose intolerant, right?
Hmm.
And because every time I eat lactose and I felt bad, I did a simple experiment. For 3 weeks, I completely avoided lactose in my diet. And I felt really good. And then I never went back. And occasionally I cheat here and there, but I know when I cheat, actually what it means, right? So if you want to know how much impact sleep has, take a couple of weeks out of your vacation time or whenever there's a downtime in your at your work, try to sleep 7 to 8 hours. You will feel the difference yourself. And then once you understand what it means, you'll never go back.
Hmm.
But I think many people haven't experienced that feeling of when you have full 78 hours of sleep, how do you feel the next day? Once they do that, they will never go back. That's what I say. Try to sleep, try to yourself.
That's great
Yeah.
advice, and thank you for sharing that. Listen, I know that we could just continue and keep going on for a long period of time here, but I do want to ask you a couple last questions before we wrap. And that is, I always like to spend a little time just kind of ending each episode with the following questions, and they're pretty quick. Okay, you ready for
Okay.
this? All
Sure.
right, all right, cool. What is something, NB, about you that might surprise people?
I'm an artist. I do drawing and artwork. If I didn't choose engineering, I would have been in fine arts. That people don't think that I would be.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. And look, you inspire a lot of people that are out there today. Who inspires you?
Hands down, Dr. Bose. And I was fortunate to meet him in person many times, listen to his live lectures. And every time I listen to him, he inspired me on being innovative and be bold. So, and there was one quote that actually Dr. Bose had, and I had that printed in my office, which said, "If you think something is impossible, don't disturb the person who's doing it." That sentence said everything. And then many
That's
times I would literally show to people like, why are you doing this? Or like, just show that quote and then done. So he inspired us a lot. He inspired me a lot.
okay. And then lastly, what is your favorite way? And I think I know the answer, but what's your favorite way to recharge?
Yeah, whenever I want to get out of work and I do some creative work, I said like do some the artwork, and I also like to do a lot of do it yourself at home, fix things and watch videos and fix them, because that usually takes my mind away from the work and then actually recharges and back to work again. That
All
helps.
right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, for all listeners out there, please check out the Com Ozlo Sleepbuds here. They are very cool, and I think they will help you in your sleep going forward. And you can see them at oslosleep.com. NB, I thank you so much for joining us here today. The work that you continue to do, where you combine technology, neuroscience, and compassion to address the mental health crisis of sleep deprivation, is truly transformative. And we need more people like you tackling this. So thank you all for listening. As always, please subscribe to our Recharge channel so you can catch all of our great episodes. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, MB.
Thank you, David. Appreciate the time and the great questions. Yeah. Take care.
All right.